Kanye West just made a confession no one saw coming. Jeffree Star reignited a rumor that nearly wrecked a marriage. And Shannon Sharpe, he's now facing a $50 million lawsuit that could destroy his reputation and his career. From disturbing childhood trauma to on-set freakouts, hidden affairs, and fetish-fueled lawsuits, today we're diving deep into the wildest celebrity scandals that have everyone talking and exposing the truth behind the headlines. This is the story of fame, trauma, manipulation, and downfall. Kanye West has never been afraid to say what others won't. But even by his standards, what he revealed recently wasn't just shocking. It was disturbing, deeply personal, and left even his most loyal fans completely stunned. In a now-deleted tweet tied to the release of his song Cousin, Kanye wrote something that turned the internet cold. It wasn't a joke. It wasn't lyrics. It was a confession. He tweeted, "My name is Yeah, and I sucked my cousin's D till I was 14. The post sent shockwaves across social media. No context, no follow-up, no explanation, just pain. Raw, unfiltered, blurted into the timeline like a grenade. What made this revelation even more unsettling is that it didn't come during a vulnerable podcast interview or private therapy session that later got shared. It was a tweet, public, permanent, and posted to millions of followers. Almost immediately, people began asking, what is this? Is it a traumatic memory, a cry for help, an attempt at honesty, or something more chaotic? Another in a long list of Ye's controversial shock tactics? Kanye didn't clarify. He didn't respond. He just deleted the tweet hours later and carried on as if nothing had happened. But for the world watching, the damage was already done. What makes this moment so confusing and so tragic is the lack of clarity. By sharing that statement without any framing, Kanye left the world guessing. Was he the victim of child abuse at the hands of his cousin? Was he admitting to something shameful that was done to him? Or something he did? Because the way it was written, it sounded like a confession of guilt. But trauma, especially trauma experienced as a child, often blurs those lines. And if Kanye was exposed to adult material at a young age, as he's also claimed, then this may be less about corruption and more about deep, unresolved abuse. This wasn't just a tweet. It was a bombshell, one that revealed the darkness he's been hinting at for years. Kanye's fans, the real ones who followed him since the college dropout, weren't surprised by the emotional weight of this moment. Not really, because Ye has always hinted at unresolved childhood pain. In Hey Mama, he celebrated his mother but often spoke about the void left by his absent father. In Runaway, he described himself as toxic, unlovable, damaged. In interviews, he's talked about growing up misunderstood, how he never felt like he belonged, how his thoughts moved too fast, how he saw things other people couldn't see, but no one ever expected him to say this. It reframes everything. His instability, his obsession with control, his fractured relationships with women, fame and faith, even his hypersexual lyrics. Now they feel like symptoms of something much darker than just ego or creativity. Kanye deleted the tweet. He never addressed it again. He moved on with album promos and paparazzi moments like nothing had happened, but the internet didn't forget. Fans are still piecing it together. Therapists are dissecting it in threads. And some followers, even the diehards, are stepping back saying, this is too much. Because when someone cries out this loudly and no one listens, eventually the damage becomes irreversible. People have long debated whether Kanye's behavior is real or performance. Is he trolling? Is he manic? Is he calculating? But this tweet, this moment, cut through all of that. Because this wasn't a gimmick. It wasn't clickbait. It wasn't part of a PR rollout. This was a man collapsing in real time. It was a glimpse into a broken memory that most people would carry in private for a lifetime, not post to the world in 280 characters. And it proves something many have feared for years. Kanye West is not okay. After the tweet went viral, fans begged Kanye's team to intervene, to get him off Twitter, to get him into therapy, to get him help. But no one stepped in. no manager, no publicist, no family. And maybe that's the most tragic part of all. He has no one left who can stop him. The people around him now aren't mentors or protectors. They're yes men, opportunists and influencers. People who benefit from his chaos, not fix it. Kanye's confession wasn't the beginning of a conversation. It was a scream into the void. And instead of support, he got retweets, reaction videos, and memes. Kanye deleted the tweet. He never addressed it again. He moved on with album promos and paparazzi moments like nothing had happened, but the internet didn't forget. Fans are still piecing it together. Therapists are dissecting it in threads, and some followers, even the diehards, are stepping back saying, "This is too much." Because when someone cries out this loudly and no one listens, eventually the damage becomes irreversible. After Kanye West's shocking childhood confession hit Twitter, the internet didn't just react with disbelief. It spiraled into speculation. Almost overnight, conversations about Kanye's past, his masculinity, and his hidden identity exploded online. People weren't just asking if he needed help, they were now questioning if he'd been hiding something deeper all along. And as always, Azealia Banks jumped in with zero hesitation. In a now viral post, she claimed Kanye wasn't just spiraling. He was allegedly involved in secret relationships with men in the industry, name-dropping the late Virgil Abloh, and even alluding to footage that she claimed was circulating in elite Hollywood circles, a so-called Diddy tape. Now, whether that's real or complete fantasy, nobody knows. But the internet didn't care, because within hours, Kanye gay rumors were trending again, something that shadowed him for years but never gained this kind of momentum. The narrative shifted from mental health to sexual identity speculation, with fans and haters dissecting lyrics, fashion choices, friendships, anything that could be twisted into proof. And then it got worse, because someone else chimed in, Jeffree Star, and that's when things went nuclear. Back in 2021, the internet exploded with a rumor. Kanye West was secretly hooking up with Jeffree Star. At the time, Jeffree denied it. He called it a joke, a troll. He said the internet made it up just because they both lived in Wyoming. But recently, he changed his tune. Jeffree tweeted, "Okay, F it, the rumors were true." Now, was he trolling again? Probably. But in this post-Kanye world, where chaos is the norm and nothing stays buried, people started to ask, what if it wasn't a joke? Especially since this rumor reportedly caused a major crack in his marriage with Kim Kardashian. And here's the kicker. Jeffree didn't delete the tweet. Say what you want about Kim Kardashian, but according to multiple sources, including Tokyo Tony, Kim tried everything to save Kanye from himself. She paid off debts, scheduled interventions, hired doctors, got Kris Jenner involved. She even shielded him from lawsuits and worked behind the scenes to get him help. But Kanye refused, over and over again. And when Kim finally stepped away, his support system crumbled. That's when the yes men moved in, the enablers, the people who fed his worst instincts. And that's why some say he spiraled even harder, because when your only friends are the ones profiting from your breakdown, you never heal. Just when it felt like the internet couldn't handle any more chaos, another bombshell dropped, this time involving Shannon Sharpe. The NFL Hall of Famer turned media powerhouse is now facing a $50 million lawsuit filed by ex-girlfriend Gabriella Zuniga. The allegations? Serious. She accuses Shannon of emotional manipulation, physical abuse, and secretly recording explicit acts without consent. The lawsuit describes a relationship full of disturbing behavior, and if even a fraction of it is true, it could destroy everything Shannon has built. But here's where it gets complicated, because in the very lawsuit where Gabriella calls herself a victim, she also sent messages begging for violent, degrading treatment. She asked to be choked. She offered her body in exchange for luxury gifts. She requested to be bred like a pet. Her own texts paint a picture that's far from clean-cut. And while her legal team, headed by notorious celebrity attorney Tony Busby, claims Shannon abused power and consent, Shannon's lawyers fired back, calling it what they believe it is, a targeted, well-timed extortion attempt designed to take advantage of a high-profile media deal. Gabriella filed the suit just as Shannon was inking a multi-million-dollar partnership. Coincidence? Maybe. But in Hollywood and media, timing speaks louder than evidence. And right now, Shannon's reputation and his future is hanging in the balance. That's what many fans believe, because Gabriella never went to the police. She waited until Shannon was about to sign a $100 million media deal and then dropped the lawsuit. Not only that, but she also allegedly sent a heavily edited sex tape to Shannon's legal team, refusing to provide the full version. The implication? She was twisting a consensual act into a legal weapon. Shannon says the video was consensual and Gabriella's own texts prove it. So what's the truth? That's still unclear, but the timing, the money, and the media strategy behind it all make this case look more like extortion than justice. The sad part? Shannon had every opportunity to avoid this, but instead of settling down, he was flying escorts around the country. Gabriella was allegedly 19 when they met. Shannon, in his 50s, this isn't just bad judgment, it's reckless. And Monique, yes, that Monique, tried to warn him. In an old clip now going viral, she says, "You don't need no 26-year-old girl. Get you an old woman that can bake, rub your feet, and make you feel like a man." She was right, but Shannon didn't listen. Now his brand, his endorsements, and his next 9-figure deal are all at risk. So what do Kanye West and Shannon Sharpe really have in common? Too much power, not enough self-control. Kanye was the genius who never healed. Shannon was the icon who never grew up. Both surrounded themselves with enablers. Both ignored the warnings. Both ended up in scandals of their own making. And both are finding out, the hard way, that when the world watches you rise, it also watches you fall. Kanye West needs help. Shannon Sharpe needs discipline. And everyone watching needs to realize, fame doesn't protect you forever. At some point, the lies catch up. The text messages leak. The receipts go viral. And when they do, you'd better hope your story holds up. Because the internet doesn't care how many awards you've won or how many touchdowns you scored. It cares about the truth. This is Behind the Light Stick. Subscribe for the stories they don't want you to hear and the real tea behind your favorite headlines. Because some secrets were never meant to stay buried.